This video is going to teach you how to use a division ladder to find GCF and LCM. Let's take, for example, the numbers 24 and 40. If we were going to make a division ladder for these, it would start like this. We know they're both even. We are only allowed to take out even numbers out here to the side. So 2 is even, and it's the smallest even number, and we divide. 2 goes into 24 12 times, 2 goes into 40 20 times. They still are both even. I can take another rung down on my ladder and continue to divide. 2 goes into 12 6 times, 2 goes into 20 10 times. Again, they are still both even. I'm going to take out another 2. 2 goes into 6 3 times, 2 goes into 10 5 times. So I'm dividing upside down. I'm now done because the 3 and the 5 are both prime and they have nothing in common. If they could be like a 4 and a 5. 4 is not prime, but they would still be relatively prime, which means prime to each other. And so I would multiply everything that I have on the side, and that would make the GCF. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Our GCF of these two numbers is 8. That's our greatest common factor. Okay, let's do one more pair before I explain any further. Let's say we have 36 and 48. So I know they're even. And I could have started with 3 because they also both have 3 in common. But it'll all turn out the same and you still have the same GCF regardless. Even again. Now they're not even, but 3, it's very sneaky, but it goes in there. You might not always spot it. 3 goes into 9 3 times, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. Now, see, these are not both prime, but they're relatively prime, which means prime to each other, meaning they have no other factors in common. So we circle everything on the side, and we multiply them to find the GCF. 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 12. Now let's say we were trying to reduce a fraction. That's really what GCF is used for. So how does this help us reduce? Well, if this, let's take our most recent example, the 36 and the 48. If this was 36 over 48, we could divide both the top and the bottom, that's the numerator and the denominator, by 12. To have our reduced fraction, which would be 3/4. And it's actually right here at the bottom of our division ladder. See the 3/4? Let me change colors. Okay, it's right here. And that's what it would be if we reduced with it. Let's go back to pink. Let's take our first example, go back to where we started with 24 and 40. If we had 24 over 40, we could divide both of those by the GCF immediately without going into smaller numbers, and we know that that would be 3 and that would be 5, leaving us with 3/5 as our reduced fraction. But let me show you something cool. It's here as well. Okay, we did it if we did the entire division ladder. Okay, now let's talk about LCM. How in the world does this connect to LCM? We know that LCM stands for least common multiple. Let's do the one, let me think. Let's do 36 and 60. Okay, first you do an entire division ladder. I'm going to start with 3 this time just because I feel funky. And if I did 3, that would go into 36 12 times, and it would go into 60 20 times. Now we're going to do that 2 because we never did 2 to start with. 2 goes into 12 6 times and into 20 10 times. Then 2 goes into 6 3 times, and 2 goes into 10 5 times. Notice my side of my division ladder is not stair-stepping. I'm keeping it straight. Okay, so now I would be done because 3 and 5 have nothing else in common. And so we would circle everything on the side and multiply it. The GCF, as I taught you before, is 3 times 2, which is 6 times 2, which would be 12. But you can also find the LCM from this same division ladder without doing anything different. Okay, let me show you how. Change colors for this one. And you draw an entire L around everything, not just what's on the side, like we did with the GCF, but the entire, all the way down, including this 3 and this 5 at the bottom now. And we multiply all that. So we already did 3 times 2 times 2, which is how we got 12. Now multiply 12 by 3 and that answer by 5. Well, okay, 12 times 3 times 5. Well, 12 times 3 is 36. 36 times 5, I do not know, but I will do it. 180, so the LCM would be 180. LCM is used to find common denominators because the least common multiple is the lowest common denominator. So it doesn't happen often that you would have these large of denominators, but you could. Let's say we had like 13/36 and we were trying to add 11/60 to it. Your least common multiple is your lowest common denominator, meaning 180 would be your most common denominator, lowest common denominator that you could use to add or subtract or even to compare these fractions. Rewind and pause whenever you need to. Ask lots of questions in class and make sure that you get it to make sense. Keep trying.